Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Backyard Pirate Ship. So, this is about where we left off last week. We got 5 or 6 here of the floor timbers bolted in place. This week, what I want to do is get the rest of the floor timbers bolted in, and I'm also going to bring you up to speed on what's been happening in the aft end there with those big keel pieces that are getting laminated together. So, let's jump right into this here. Working on laminating up all the rest of the floor timbers. Some people doubt the strength of this glue that I'm using to hold the floor timbers together, and what I have to remind everybody is that anytime you see a piece of wood on this boat that's glued together, glue is not the only thing that's going to be holding it together. All this strength is going to come from the bolts that are running through every single piece of this boat. The glue is more so for waterproofing than actually mechanical strength. So next up here, we're disassembling the back end of the keel, and Elizabeth and I are spreading some tar out, and we're bedding down this section of the keel here. I don't know what exactly you'd call this piece. And I don't know if I've been over this before yet, but basically what we're doing is we're using tar as opposed to glue because we want this piece to be only semi-permanently attached. If we ever have to change out one of these pieces of the keel, we don't want to have to change out the entire keel because that would basically be the death of the boat. So we use tar because it never fully cures and gets hard the way glue does, but it will still keep the boat waterproof. It's the same stuff you use on your roof to keep your shingles waterproof. You can still pull it up after 10 or so years and it'll still be waterproof. You can lay new stuff down on top of it and it'll work just the same. So you lay down a layer of tar, then we lay down a layer of tar infused paper, and then another layer of tar. And that basically just gives you more stuff in between the glue joint because these pieces aren't perfectly flat. The bolts we put through the middle will help pull it into alignment, and the extra tar in the middle will keep this seam waterproof. Here I'm drilling the holes for the bolts that are going to hold this piece together. And I got Elizabeth coming in to whack away at this bolt. Phenomenal job. I'll take on the longer ones. Right about here, the boat fell apart. Anyways. I'm countersinking these two holes because these bolts need to be sunk down below the surface because the shaft alley goes on top of this piece. That's pretty much the same for all of these keel pieces toward the aft end. making that boat below the surface. Alright, listen, let's just enjoy this shot together. Y'all saw it in the thumbnail, you know it had to be here. She cleans threads out of the bottom. Truly phenomenal. Anyways, jumping back in time here, we're going to be working on these keel pieces that you've seen popping up in the background. This is the part that goes directly on top of the shaft alley, and it levels out the back of it so that you're not working on an angle anymore. This is the part that the stern post is going to sit directly on top of. I'm not sure if I talked about how these are made in the last episode or not, but basically we glue these together in these big triangles with these overlapping pieces, and then we turn them on our side and take a circular saw and cut down the edge of it. That gives me a flat square plane to plane down to. Knock those corners off, and then I've got a goal to hit with the planer. If I had like a giant ship saw or a big band saw, it would probably be the better way to do this. Take it all off in one cut. But I don't have one of those, so this is how we gotta do it. Plane does okay. It does eat through batteries, though. Here's a little bit more in-depth look at the laminating process. As you can see, we stack up 2 or 3 boards at a time, and then we use these 2x4s with threaded rods going through it as clamps to clamp the whole lamination together. Get that good squeeze out. And once it's all done, we let the clamps go, and here's Elizabeth with the planer cleaning up the sides so that it's easier to make that cut down the sides. And on the other side there, I'm working on more floor timbers. Those are always going on in the background. You don't need to see every single one. That would just get redundant. And same as before, we mark those with a straight edge, and then we cut back with a circular saw and cut down the sides to give me a nice flat plane to plane down to. This piece is the stern foot. This is what reinforces the joint between the piece right below it and the stern post. It holds the transom. This sits right below the stern knee, and with those 3 pieces complete, that'll basically be everything in the aft end of the keel, aside from the 2 deadwoods that go at the bottom. Those will get done after the ballast keel gets poured. So here's where we leave off with this episode. We got all 10 or so of the floor timbers that need to be there in order for the ballast keel to get poured. There's a couple more I still need to do. There's 14 in total, but here's 10 or 11 of them in place, and we got good progress going on at the aft end with the keel pieces. Next episode, we're going to be flipping this whole thing over, and we're going to be pouring the ballast keel. It's going to be massive. There's going to be a lot of concrete and steel going on. That's a huge part of the boat that's going to unlock framing. It's going to do so much to make this thing actually look like a boat. Can't wait for that. Please stick around. Thanks everybody so much for watching. See you next time.